Hello everyone, welcome back once again. If you are a continuous viewer of my lecture videos, then you have remembered one thing, that in the last video lecture I have talked about the variation of mass with its speed. Okay, so in this video I will talk about the variation of mass with its speed and the mathematical derivation of the same. Okay, so for this we can use again the postulate of relative special theory of relativity, which is implied in the last video lectures also. For that I will be using the law of addition of velocity, what was we have done in the last video lecture is also here. So for that let us imagine an event in which two particles are there. Okay, so I am considering two particles in which one particle is moving with some velocity u dash and another particle is approaching towards each side with the same velocity, okay, but in opposite direction. So its velocity will be as minus u dash. Okay, let us consider that this complete phenomena is happening in a frame of reference s dash, which is moving with some velocity v with respect to another frame of reference s, which is at absolute rest. This frame of reference s is at absolute rest. Okay, now the velocities which are u dash and minus u dash of the two particles, let's say this particle is 1, this particle is 2 in frame of reference s dash, when they are observed from this frame of reference, then they will be different. Okay, and the formula for the these velocities can be obtained by the last video lecture, that is law of addition of velocities. Okay, so let us assume that the velocity of the particle 1 and particle 2 are respectively u1 and u2 when we see this complete phenomena from this frame of reference s. Okay, so the formula for the velocities of these two particles, let's say the u1 is the velocity of the particle 1 having some mass also, let's say m1 is the mass of this particle and m2 is the mass of the another particle, which are identical in nature. Okay, so the u1 velocity can be written as by using the law of addition of velocities, that is u dash plus v divided by 1 plus u dash v upon c square. This is for the velocity for particle 1. Okay, when we observe this phenomena from the s frame of reference, let's say this equation is 1 here. Again, the velocity of the particle 2 from frame of reference s can be written as u2 equals minus u dash, because the velocity of the particle 2 in the frame of reference s dash is minus u dash. So minus u dash plus v divided by 1 minus u dash v upon c square. Let's say this equation is 2. Okay, now in order to derive the mass variation, let us imagine a phenomena of collision of these two particles. Okay, let's say both the particles are rectilinear in motion but in the opposite directions. Okay, so let's say at a particular time both the particles collide to each other, and after the collision, just after the collision, both particles stick together to make a one body. Okay, so before collision this diagram is taken, this particle is here. Okay, and when they are collided with each other, then both become one body having two particles. So in that particular situation, the mass of the two bodies will be m1 plus m2. And let us also imagine here that after just collision, both particles comes at rest. Okay, and the velocity of this rest system of particles will be as that of the velocity of this frame of reference s dash, because both the particles have come at rest in this frame of reference, which is already moving with velocity v. Okay, now we can apply the law of conservation of linear momentum to understand this phenomena precisely. So using law of conservation of linear momentum. Okay, what is the statement of law of conservation of linear momentum? The statement of the law of conservation of linear momentum is that the total linear momentum of particles of a system is conserved. Okay, so the total initial linear momentum of the particles will be equals to the final linear momentum of the particles after the collision in this case. Okay, so the total initial linear momentum of these two particles will be the addition of the individual momentum of these two particles. So let's say the mass of this particle is m1, so its momentum becomes m1 u dash in the frame of reference s dash, just remember this thing, and its momentum will become minus m2 u dash. Okay, but when we observe this complete collision from this frame of reference, then we will take their velocities as u1 and u2, not u dash and minus u dash here. Okay, so the initial momentum of the particle 1 was m1 u1 before the collision, and for the same the initial momentum of this particle 2 was m2 u2. Okay, so the total linear momentum of this system observed from frame reference S will be m1 u1 plus m2 u2. This is for before the collision. Okay, before collision, and this is equals to the final momentum of the system, and finally both body stick together become one body, m1 plus m2 having the mass. Okay, so the final momentum will be the total mass multiplied by the total velocity. The total velocity of this system having two bodies v, so this is v here. Okay, now this is for after the collision. After collision, this is before collision here. Now you can use equation 1 and 2 in the place of u1 and u2 here. Okay, so I am using the values of u1 and u2. Okay, this is m1 multiplied by u dash plus v divided by 1 plus u dash v upon c square. This is for u1, and plus m2 times of u2. u2 is minus u dash plus v divided by 1 minus u dash v upon c square. Okay, and it is going to equal m1 v, let me multiply this v into the bracket, and plus m2 v here. Now I will take this term, this complete term in the LHS, and 0 will be here. Okay, so when I take this complete factor in the LHS, this complete factor will be of negative nature, and I can take m1 as common from these two factors and m2 as common from these two factors. Okay, so I am taking m1 as common, so the rest terms will be u dash plus v divided by 1 plus u dash v upon c square minus v, because m1 v gives me this minus v, again plus m2 is common, and remnant term will be u dash plus v upon 1 minus u dash v upon c square, and minus v is also here, and the RHS 0 will be remain. Okay, now I can multiply this denominator with this v as well as this denominator with this v. Okay, so this will be m1 u dash plus v minus v. When I multiply this minus v with 1, this remains same, minus v, and minus plus minus u dash v square. This v multiplied with this v makes v square upon c square, and complete factor is divided by 1 plus u dash v divided by c square. Okay, similarly this is m2 bracket minus u dash plus v and minus v, and this minus and minus plus u dash v square upon c square, and complete factor is divided by 1 minus u dash v upon c square equals 0. Right, now just you can see here v is cancelled by this minus v, and this v is cancelled by this minus v. Now if I take negative as common from these two factors, then what will be that? That will be m1 multiplied by u dash minus u dash v square upon c square upon 1 plus u dash v upon c square. This is here, and if I take negative as common, I will get minus m2, and that will be u dash because when I take negative as count from the bracket, this will become of positive, and that will become of negative here. U dash v square upon c square, and complete is divided by 1 minus u dash v upon c square and equals to 0, right? Now you can easily say here these two complete factors are same, so they can be taken as common and taken into that 0. Okay, so what is the rest term? What is the rest term after the taking common? The rest term will be m1 divided by this value. This is 1 plus u dash v upon c square. Okay, and this will be of okay, let me take this term into the 0, so that will become of positive. Okay, so first of all I have taken this factor as common and take this factor into the 0, that factor will become vanish. Okay, now this complete factor I have taken into the RHS side, so that will be of positive, that will be of m2 upon this value. This is 1 minus u dash v upon c square, right? Now I can find the ratio of m1 and m2 from this mathematical interpretation. So let me write this m1 upon m2 as here. So this m1 m2 gives me m1 upon m2 equals 1 plus u dash v upon c square upon 1 minus u dash v upon c square. Okay, so this is the value what I have. Let's say this is another equation 3. Okay, now what we have to do, now I can use the equation number 1 and equation number 2 alternatively to find the value of this quotient. Okay, so first of all I am using the equation number 1. Just remember I am using the square of the equation number 1. So let me write it as here, using equation 1. So I am taking the square of equation number 1, that will be u1 square equal u dash plus v upon 1 plus u dash v upon c square and its whole square. Okay, for convenient I am multiplying on both sides by c square, 1 upon c square. So this will be here and this will be here. This is first step you have to remember in your mind. Another, I am subtracting LHS and RHS from 1. This is 1 minus 1 upon c square multiplied by u1 square. And again here 1 minus 1 upon c square multiplied by u dash plus v upon 1 plus u dash v upon c square. You can check here I have not violated any law of mathematical algebra. I have dividing by c square on both sides. C square can be cancelled out c square and this complete form can be as that of it in the past. Okay, again I have subtracting complete factor by 1. This is not violation of the any mathematical algebra. Okay, so this complete factor is here. Now I am multiplying, okay, this is the square here. So I am multiplying this denominator with this 1 in order to simplify this factor. This is 1 plus u dash b upon c square and its whole square also here, and 1 minus 1 upon c square, and here u dash plus v whole square is taken, and complete factor is also divided by, okay, I am writing it as here. This is 1 plus u dash v upon c square whole square. What I have done in this, I have just multiplied this denominator with this 1, and this denominator will be of all of the denominator. Okay, so 1 plus u dash v upon c square, it's whole square because this is numerator whole square, this is denominator whole square. This will be in that divide of all factors. So all factor is here, I have multiplied with this 1, this is here, minus 1 upon c square times u dash plus v whole square, this is here, and complete is divided by with this factor. Okay, now you can just open this factor here. I am opening this factor, I will get 1 square 1 plus u dash square v square upon c square and plus 2ab. 2 is 1, so I am not writing it as u dash v upon c square Also I am opening this factor with the multiplying of the 1 upon c square, and all terms will be of negative due to this negative sign. So that will be u dash square upon c square minus v square upon c square and minus 2 u dash v upon c square, and complete factor is divided by 1 plus u dash v upon c square and whole square. Okay, this factor can be cancelled out with this factor. Now I am taking v square upon c square with this one, 1 minus v square upon c square, right? Also I am taking u dash square upon c square as common from this one and from this one term. The rest term will be, when I take this common, the rest term will be from here. Okay, I am writing it as a negative s. So I am taking negative u dash square upon c square as common. So u dash square upon c square is common from this factor. This is here 1. And from here I will get minus, because I have taken negative as common. There is no negative here, that will be of negative. This will be v square upon c square. Okay, this is c raised to power here. This is my mistake. This is c raised to power 4, because when we square of this factor, this is u dash square v square upon c raised to power 4 here. So this is what we have till now. Okay, and this complete factor is also divided by this factor. This is 1 plus u dash and v upon c square whole square. Okay, now again you can see this factor is again common. So I am again taking the common. This is 1 minus v square upon c square as common, and rest term will be 1 minus u dash square upon c square, and complete factor is divided by this value. This is 1 plus u dash v upon c square and whole square. Do not forget that this RHS is equals to the LHS. What is this one? So I am writing it as, okay, let me wrap this diagram here. So this is what we have. I have this 1 minus u1 square upon c square equal this value. Okay, this is 1 minus v square upon c square, and this is 1 minus u dash square upon c square. This is u dash here. Okay, and this complete value is divided by 1 plus u dash v upon c square and whole square, right? Now I am taking this factor here and this factor here. Just rearrange these terms here. This is 1 plus u dash v upon c square, and its whole square is here, and this is same. This is 1 minus v square upon c square, and this is 1 minus u dash square upon c square, and divided by this value. This is 1 minus u1 square upon c square, right? Now this square in the RHS will be the square root of this complete value. Up till now I have found the value of 1 plus u dash v upon c square, which can be put in the equation number 3 as its numerator. Okay, so first task of this article has been completed up till now. Let's see, this equation is for here. Now in order to find the denominator value, this is 1 minus u dash v upon c square, we will have to do the same effort what I have done up till now. But interestingly, you do not have to need to solve the complete equation to find this value as what I have done up till now. No, you can just check the cyclicity of this equation to find this value. Okay, so similarly, the value of 1 minus u dash v upon c square will be what? That will be square root of, this will be same, this will be 1 minus v square upon c square and multiply 1 minus u dash square upon c square, but in the denominator this u1 square will be replaced by u2 square, right? So that will be 1 minus u2 square upon c square here. Let's say this equation is 5. Okay, so just remember this factor here. Now I can use the equation number 4 as well as equation number 5 in equation number 3 in order to get this quotient m1 upon m2. Okay, so I am writing these two factors here. So let me putting equation 4 and equation 5 in equation number 3. Okay, so let me write it as here. So this equation will be, when I have put this value divided by this value, I will get here what? The numerator of equation 4 and equation 5 are same. So when I divide equation 3, equation 4 and equation 5, when I put these two values in equation number 3, I will get these factors cancelled, right? So I am not writing these two factors. I am only writing 1 plus u dash b upon c square equals only what? Sorry, 1 plus u dash b upon c square here and 1 minus u dash b upon c square here. So what will be in the divide, and these numerator will be cancelled out. The rest term will be 1 upon under root. 1 upon under root 1 minus u1 square upon c square upon 1 upon under root 1 minus u2 square upon c2 square. Okay, so rest term will be here m1 upon m2 equal what? 1 upon, I am not writing this term. Okay, for the convenient, I am regarding this complete factor as is gamma. So their factor is also here gamma, right? So in the under root, I am taking it as here, this is gamma upon, this is 1 minus u1 square upon c square, and upon, from equation number 5, for this value, this is under root gamma upon 1 minus u2 square upon c square. Okay, so this under root gamma is cancelled by this under root gamma, and rest term is only here. So I am writing the rest term here. So the rest term is, this is m1 upon m2, and this is in the square root of, that will be in the multiply of numerator. This will be 1 minus u2 square upon c square and upon 1 minus u1 square upon c square. Correct? So this is what we have up till now. This is going to equal as m1 upon m2 here. Now we have to consider the phenomena what we have regarded in the initialization of this video. What? That the two particles were moving in opposite direction with these velocities, okay, u dash and minus u dash here, according to frame of reference s dash, and the observed value of these velocities of the particles from s frame of reference were u1 and u2 for the two particles respectively. Now we can assume that the second particle, this particle, I am talking about the second particle, whose velocity is u2 from this frame of reference s. Let's say this particle was at rest. Okay, in that particular situation, its velocity u2 will be 0. Okay, so this is at rest, so its mass will be, let's say its mass is spatial quantity, and in that particular condition I am just writing here all the factor here, that let particle 2 was at rest, okay, according to s frame of reference. S frame of reference. Okay, this is s frame of reference, not s dash. In that particular situation, its velocity u2 will be seen as 0. and its mass, which was m2, let's say is m naught at its zero velocity, right? So I'm putting these two considerations in this equation. I will get from this equation m1 upon m naught equal 1 upon, this is 1 minus 0 upon c square, so this complete factor vanish. This is only 1 upon what, this is 1 minus, sorry, this complete factor is vanish out, so the complete factor is 1 upon under root 1 minus u1 square upon c square. In that particular situation I will get this value only here. Okay, also this expression can be written as m1 equals m naught upon under root 1 minus u1 square upon c square. So this is the value for this consideration. Now let's talk about the initialization event of this factor, of this phenomena. As I have told you, both the particles are identical in nature. Okay, so whatever I have assumed for the second particle, according to this sentence, that can be true for the first particle. Okay, so all the consideration can be taken for the first particle as well. So in that particular situation, the mass of the first particle, let's say this is not m, but this is just m. Okay, so similarly, same consideration, can be taken for particle 1. So in that situation, particle 1 will behave like the particle 2, and let's say the mass of the particle 1 is not m1, this is just m for the convenient. And also for the convenient, let's say its velocity, which is u dash in frame of reference s dash and u1 in frame of reference s, is v. Okay, so I am replacing, let's say the velocity u1 for the convenient, let's say this is v. So I am writing these two values here. So in that particular situation, I will get m equals m naught upon under root 1 minus v square upon c square. So this is the formula for the variation of mass with the speed v. So if any particle moves with a certain velocity v, then it's, what is the nature of its mass? Let us discuss about that here. So from this equation you can take an idea from here. If the velocity of the particle whose rest mass was m naught, okay, when it was at rest we measure its mass and that comes out to be m naught, and when it moves with some velocity v, and then when we measure and we are able to measure its mass, then its mass becomes m. And what is the relation between m naught and m? This is what we have. So if speed of the particle v increases, then the factor of the denominator will be lesser. How? When b increases, then some value will be subtracted from 1 and this complete factor will be lesser than 1. And when you divide m naught and another physical quantity by a physical quantity which is lesser than 1, then the result is greater. Let's say this complete factor comes out to be 0.5 for the convenient. Okay, and let's say the rest mass of the body was 5 kg. So rest mass is 5 kg and this complete factor due to its velocity comes out to 0.5. So if I divide this 0.5 5 by 0.5, I will get here this is as 10. Okay, so you can see here this is the m. So m increases at its velocity increases. So this is the variation of mass with speed, that when the velocity of the body increases or speed of the body increases, then its mass also increases. Okay, so this is what we have for the variation of the mass. Okay, now hand to hand we can also derive the formula for the relation of relativistic energy and momentum for a particle. So the next, the small article is for relation between relativistic momentum and energy for a particle. Okay, so let's talk about this value again. You very well know as energy of a particle is just mc square, can be expressed as mc square, right? It's mean that the mass of a body can be converted into energy, or its vice versa is also true. Okay, now if I talk about a particle having mass m and whose the mass energy is E, when it moves with some velocity or speed v, then its momentum can be expressed as the product of its mass and its velocity. So this is for the momentum, linear momentum. Okay. Also, from here, from the equation number 1, I can write this equation in the form of its rest mass. That will be equal, the value of m can be expressed as m naught upon under root 1 minus b square upon c square from the last article. Okay, and the complete factor is in the multiply of c square. Let's say this equation is 2. Okay, now from the formula of the linear momentum of the particle, I can use the value of its velocity in terms of its momentum and its mass. Okay, so I am putting the value of v as p upon m in this formula. So equation 2 will be equals m naught c square divided by under root 1 minus v square nothing but p upon m whole square. So this will be p square upon m square, and the c square is in the multiply of m square here, right? For the convenient to make this formula is equals to energy, I am multiplying and dividing y c square. So I am multiplying in the p square, and for the same time I am dividing with the c square, so that will be of c raised to power 4. Okay, now you can easily see here equals mc square. If I take the square of this equation 1, I will get e square m square c raised to power 4. Okay, so I am using here this as e square equals m square c raised to power 4. So this complete factor can be replaced by e square here. So this is going to equal e. This is m naught c square divided by under root 1 minus p square c square upon e square. Okay, now for the convenient you can square on both sides of this equation. So taking a square on both sides, I will get e square equals m naught square c raised to power 4 divided by under root can be cancelled out by its square 1 minus p square c square upon c e raised to power 2. Okay, for the convenient to make this formula quite precisely, you can multiply this denominator with this e square. By doing so, you will get, I am writing this term here, I will get e square multiply with the 1 minus p square c square upon e square equals as m naught square c raised to power 4. Okay, multiply with this e square with the bracket, you will get e square with the 1 minus e square will be cancelled out, will be with this e square when you multiply with this factor, and rest term will be p square c square equals m naught square c raised to power 4. So this is the very famous formula for the relation between relativistic energy and relativistic momentum. Okay, you know very well m naught is a rest mass of a particle which is always a constant value. Okay, as well as c speed of light is also constant, having value of this in MKS. So the RHS of this equation, let me give another name of this equation. This is equation number 2. So the RHS of this equation is just constant, because M0 is constant, C is constant, so this complete factor is constant. So RHS is constant. So for this nature, the LHS is always constant. So we can write it as E square minus P square upon C square. This complete value is always a constant. And interestingly, E square minus P square C square, the relation between relativistic energy as well as relativistic momentum always remains invariant under the Lorentz transformation, because its RHS is constant. So this nature is always a constant. Okay. So this was the purpose of the video lecture of which is going on now. So I think this is enough for this video lecture. Let's meet in the next video. Okay.